This is one of the most requested IM video reviews, so here it is. Hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and this is my review for Tripowin Olina. It costs around $100 and using a single dynamic driver, and it's also a collaboration between Bad Guy Good Audio Reviews and also Tripowin. And just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. The build quality is simply good. It's using mostly aluminium for the housing, but the faceplate is resin with this kind of faceplate on it, and you could see the Hawaii Bad Boy or the BGAR logo around this part. It's using 2-pin connectors, and the cable itself, it's just okay. It's braided mostly and feels durable, also quite flexible. Ergonomics wise, I feel that it's just fine. I have no complaints about it. It feels light in my ears and I find no sharp edges touching my ears, and the ear gate itself is pretty good. So yeah, it's very stable even though I'm moving my head like this. But just a little bit of note, you may take a look at this part. You can find a little vent hole around the nozzle part here. So not gonna lie, there's a certain position when I hear that it feels like I'm hearing imbalance between the left and right channel, but the truth is my ears just block that vent hole and the bass gets noticeably bigger. And here's the frequency response when I'm blocking the ear vent, blocking the whole vent hole, and yeah, definitely the bass getting much bigger. Frequency response wise, you could see that it's actually quite similar to the Harman neutral frequency response. So the main enhance in this frequency response is mostly on the bass and also the upper mid-range around 3K, but after that it's gradually quite rolled off and it's not really extended in the trebles area. In terms of sound, I have tried them using these my sources. Actually, even though you're using headphone only, that's okay because they're quite easy to drive and easy to enjoy. And the tonality is somewhat, yeah, it's again somehow like a Harman neutral IM. If you have tried the Juno Titan S or maybe the Moondrop area, it has almost the same tonality to it with just difference here and there. But I should say in the regarding the upper mid-range, it is the most intense one, even though I have tried using several Eartips and tried them again, and yeah, they're still the most intense upper mid-range compared to the Aria and the Juno Titan S. But it has the best technical among the three. It's not by far, but it's a little bit noticeable. So I'm just gonna break it down first from the bass. It's simply a good bass. It could dig deep, it's quite fast, it doesn't bleed to the mid-range, it has decent extension. I don't really have any complaints around here, but I think that the quantity is not enough for bass head. But for me, it's just proper bass that simply giving this fun factor to a lot of genre. And then going to the mid-range, I should say that it is the Achilles heel for me. Because here's the thing, I have tried Aria, I have tried the Juno Titan S, and then I'm trying this. Again, it's the almost same tonality again and again, but this Tripowin Olina is the most intense one, and it is noticeable especially in this song, The Greatest Showman soundtrack from the Kela Settles song This Is Me. Especially when you hear the choir in We Are Warriors, and then where the Kela Settles sing alone and scream. I just can't really bear to hear that music in this IM. And in some songs again, like the Greatest Showman, its beginning music, it's just too intense. While I have no problem hearing those music using the Aria or the Juno Titan S, in this IM actually the vocal sounds quite clear and clean. Also when you hear male vocals, it's just lacking a little bit of warmth, but female vocal is fine. But again, in some intense sounding vocal in some songs, it could be a little bit too intense, and that's exactly what I hear here in this Tripowin Olina. I just couldn't hear them for too long. And going to the treble, again, I have no complaints with them. It's just an okay treble. It doesn't really extend really well, but the presence and also definition of the notes, it's quite clearly portrayed here. Maybe I'm just liking a little bit of extension airiness in some violins or some cymbals, but other than that, I could say that in terms of tonality, it's quite an all-rounder IM, except if you are sensitive in the upper mid-range. Actually, when it comes to technical, around $100, I think that this is one of the best IM that you could get, because the imaging and also resolution, it's almost punch against its price bracket. It's just really good, and it has a good imaging and 3D soundstage with a good resolution. So any music you throw at them, it will gives you one of the best separation and also detail and clarity that you could get around $100. It's definitely clearer than the Moondrop Aria. But when it comes to comparison, again, with the Moondrop Aria, I could simply wear Aria for longer than this Tripowin Olina. As you could see in the frequency response, the Moondrop Aria has less upper mid-range rise, and that's exactly what I hear here. But yeah, in terms of complex music, when you hear like Himawari from Kenshi Yonezu or some complex music for the Hans Zimmer soundtracks, I feel that Aria is more congested and not as separated in elements as this Tripowin Olina. Tripowin Olina has definitely better positioning about instruments and also better 3D presentation. So yeah, it just depends on your preference. But how is it compared to one of my favorite IMs, around $80 to $100? So this is the Juno Titan S. Again, the Juno Titan S is somewhat a leaner Aria, but with better resolution and also treble extension. So when I hear them both, even though they both has definitely more intense upper mid-range than the Aria, but the Juno Titan S is apparently still in my tolerance level. So when I hear that music, This Is Me or The Greatest Showman, or from now on from the Greatest Showman soundtracks, for me the Juno Titan S is still more bearable to hear. I can still enjoy them using this Juno Titan S. But the Juno Titan S is more two-dimensional in terms of sound staging compared to this Tripowin Olina. And also the treble is more extended in this Juno Titan S. So yeah, it's back and forth. I definitely could hear a little bit better of imaging and positioning of the elements in the music in Tripowin Olina a little bit better. It's noticeable in some songs, but I'm not gonna say it's definitely a level ahead of the Juno Titan S. No, I would say it's almost on the same level, but it's only a little bit better on the Tripowin Olina. But if you ask me which one I like, I still like the Juno Titan S better due to better treble extension and also more tamer upper mid-range. And even if you could tame the upper mid-range of the Olina, for example using double filter or maybe using foams or using something like that, you just modify it, it's somehow cut down the treble extension a little bit. So yeah, in the end I would still pick the I would still pick the Juno Titan S better to the better treble extension and also more tamer upper mid-range. But if you are okay with that somehow quiet or intense upper mid-range, I would say that this Tripowin Olina is a solid choice, definitely. And once more, I see that some people ask me about how is it compared to the Tantrum Oxygen. Well, Tantrum Oxygen, even though in the frequency response they are very looks alike, but yeah, frequency response only tell one thing, but not really tell the whole story here. Even though that yes, you hear some similarity, especially in the tonality part. But the really special about Tantrum Oxygen for me is about its really natural timbre and its very clean black background. It's just so much more calmer and much more detailed in some very good recordings such as Amber Rubarth or maybe some Lily Turner songs. I hear definitely more black background here, less noise, and also it has better imaging and also pinpoint and also better 3D-ness. So yeah, it has similarity. I definitely agree to that. But it's not on the same level. Also, when it comes to upper mid-range shoutiness, I find that I have no problem with this Tantrum Oxygen again. Even though again in this frequency response it's similar, but I could hear Kayla Settles' This Is Me and The Greatest Showman in this Tangible Oxygen without any problem. It just sounds more natural and not as shouty as more as this Tripowin Olina. So in the end, but we're talking about almost 3 times the price here. So yeah, Tangible Oxygen is simply still better for me. But in the end, is it worth it? If you are okay with that shoutiness around 3K, around that upper mid-range, I would say that this Tripowin Olina is really recommended because it simply has the best imaging and also 3D-dimensional presentation amongst the Junior Titan S and also the Moondrop area. But again, if you ask me at that price point, I would still pick this Junior Titan S. But it just comes to my personal preference. Okay, if you have any question, please write down in the comments below and see you next time. Bye bye.